Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So today we're going to be talking a little bit more about Zion Williamson. So as you guys know, Zion has been making the news for all the wrong reasons now, but now big media has began to talk about him because it seems like reports out there saying now that the New Orleans Pelicans may be looking to move off of Zion Williamson. Everyone is kind of weighed in. I heard JJ Redick say there's no way you should keep him. Other people that say no, you should get rid of him, etc., etc., etc. But today on ESPN First Take, they were talking about it, and they asked the very question. Molly Kerm on ESPN First Take, she posed a question to Kendrick Perkins, and the question was very simple. She said, do you think that the New Orleans Pelicans should move off from Zion Williamson? And before we play what Kendrick Perkins had to say, in this particular moment, Kendrick decided to talk about the lack of seriousness that Zion Williamson is exhibiting as a professional basketball player, and basically showing that this guy is not really, he doesn't really seem to be ready for the NBA game and everything that comes with it. So what we want to do is want to quickly play what Kendrick Perkins had to say here, and then we want to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to that.
Is it time to move on from Zion?
Molly, I said this last year, that it was time for the Pelicans to move on from Zion Williamson. Okay, you can't trust them. Now, here we are a year later, and guess what? The reason that the Pelicans are trying to move on from him is because of food and his off-the-court issues when it comes down to Zion and what's been transpiring over the last month. And when I bring up food, we talk about Zion Williamson and we talk about him being healthy. Well, part of his health, we talk about this all the time. It's his diet. When is he going to get in shape? Sometimes he comes into training camp, he is in shape. And guess what? He's not able to sustain that. So what is he doing when he leaves the practice facility? And there's no coincidence that all of a sudden we get to this point and all of a sudden we're hearing about the Pelicans possibly are wanting to move on from Zion. It's no coincidence. They've been on social media. We all have. We've been seeing all the reports and all the rumors and everything that's been going on for Zion and the NBA lifestyle that he couldn't adjust to or couldn't say no to. So if I'm the Pelicans with the young group of guys that I have in place, I have a nice culture. I have a nice coach in Willie Green. I have a veteran in CJ McCollum. I would not jeopardize that for Zion Williamson. And I know he's a generational talent, but he's a generational talent that we can't trust.
First off, Perk, let me say, if I was Zion, I would get some kind of restraining order. First off, you ain't gonna be saying all that stuff about me in public. Like, I'm done. All I'm gonna say, and I'll leave that to be that, because that does not need to be out there.
So you heard what Kendrick Perkins had to say. First of all, I 100% concur with his comments, especially as it pertains to Zion's lack of seriousness. Here's the fact of the matter. When you go into the NBA as a very young guy, 18, 19, 20, whatever, 21, number one, you're coming into a lot of money, like boatloads of money. I rarely heard of any NBA players that made it into the NBA that were millionaires before they got there. So usually for the vast majority of these people, they're turning into overnight millionaires for the vast majority of them. And with that amount of money and fame comes a lot of pressure, but it also comes with a lot of distractions, right? A lot of distractions. And this is something you've heard many athletes talk about over the years. Now, does it mean that all of a sudden you now have to turn into a model citizen? No. But what it means is that you have to be able to kind of navigate this new world that you're entering without it affecting the very thing that got you in that position, which in this case is your NBA game. In the case of Zion Williamson, we all know that when he's healthy, he's one of the most sensational basketball players on planet Earth. We've seen flashes of it, right? Absolutely incredible basketball player. However, it looks like the off-the-court distractions are beginning to get to him, right? Especially with some of the latest reports surrounding him. These are real things, right? Zion is not the only one that is, presented with these same options. It happens to all of these guys, but some of these guys are able to kind of handle it much cleaner than Zion, right? And you got to be able to do it. Zion is not the first person that came into the NBA that came into a lot of money. And obviously no one is perfect and people are going to make mistakes, but you got to find a way to handle it a lot better. And this is why it's important to have mentors, right? It's really important to have mentors, guys that kind of came before you that can kind of pave the way for you. I've heard some NBA players talk about, the importance of having a veteran, a vet, right? That when you come to a team, especially as a young player, you have guys out there that have been in the NBA for a number of years that can basically show you how to be a professional, right? They can show you what it takes to be a pro. And that's a major advantage. But the issue now is that so many NBA players are all young. So it's very hard to have young guys showing other young guys how to be professionals when they themselves are kind of going through the phase altogether. And this is something that, some NBA players have talked about having a vet. I can think of a player that comes to mind, Patrick Beverley and Terrence Mann, right? I think you can think of, I believe it's Moses Malone and Charles Barkley, right? Where he told Charles Barkley flat out, similar situation with Zion. The reason you're not playing is because you're fat and out of shape. And he said, Charles Barkley said those words pierced him, but it was something that he needed to hear. And most importantly, he had someone in his life that was in the position he wanted to be in that could tell him that. And in the case of Zion, either he doesn't have that person. If you look at the New Orleans Pelicans, they're a very, very young team, although they have a veteran there and CJ McCollum. But CJ McCollum, they just brought him there recently. But you can see that the NBA world is beginning to get to him. And maybe he needs a change of scenery. And that could be, a potential, reason that this team most likely wants to move off from him and, get him to another team. Do I think that Zion will probably be better suited in another organization? Probably, where they have a structure, where they have vets there that can basically show him the way. Maybe he needs a change of, a change of scenery, because I'm not here judging him, because I've never been in that situation. Most of us have never been in a situation that Zion is facing. So it must be very, very challenging, if we're being honest, for a young guy to deal with this type of, with this level of distractions. And if you heard some of the reports, with the exorbitant amount of money that he's throwing out there, I mean, a lot of people seem to be, he's allowing himself to be taken for a ride. He's really allowing himself to be taken for a serious ride. All of this money you're just blowing away, throwing it here, throwing it there, sending this one there, sending this one there. It adds up. And some people seem to be under some type of illusion. They were like, well, he has 200 million. No, dumb. He doesn't have 200 million. That 200 million is 200 million gross, not net. He grossed 200, but Uncle Sam is also going to come to the door and knock. So maybe 40% of that, 50% of that is gone. So he doesn't have 100 million. And this is the problem that a lot of guys have. They start spending money that they don't have. You say, oh, well, I got 100 million. No, you don't have 100 million. You have 100 million before taxes. And if you begin to realize this, you won't be spending so recklessly. So I agree with what Kendrick Perkins said, and I think it's just a wait and see game. I think we're all just going to have to wait and see what the New Orleans Pelicans end up doing with Zion Williamson. So what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about what Kendrick Perkins had to say? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comment section, and we catch you on the next show.